My name's Alex Childs, and my topic is regarding digital media use and how it affects children. Digital media is something that has become a very common thing in today's society with the use of smartphones or tablets. It seems that almost everyone has one of those, especially it's becoming more common that children in many American households are having access to these devices and having mobile devices of their own. And while these tools can be beneficial, especially for children's education, there's also a lot of drawbacks, specifically when it's used unmonitored, unregulated, and used excessively. It can have devastating impacts on children's development, whether that be mentally, socially, academically, or even physically. One statistic I found that was really interesting is that children as young as 8 years old spend an average of 4 to 6 hours a day on digital media, and that's a lot of time in one day. Part of this is the unlimited access to devices. It used to be that you would have to go to a computer that was plugged in. Well, now it's so mobile that you have access anywhere, so it's harder to regulate how much time children are spending on media devices. And with that, we are also seeing children with at younger ages have access to these kind of devices, and it makes it harder. The earlier they are exposed to digital media, it's harder for them to differentiate what's entertainment or what's education and what's positive and what's negative for them. And it's also harder for them to step away from the devices. There's some educational pros that are associated with digital media use. Websites such as ABC Mouse, Khan Academy, Math IXL, those are positive things for children. They can be very beneficial for education, allowing children to kind of develop on their own, go at their own pace, and be able to expand past what they are learning in the classroom. However, on those devices, they usually have access to some sort of entertainment, and when they get bored using those educational sites, it's so easy for them to just switch over to something that's more fun or just changes it up. And so when they are changing just because they're bored, it can have negative impacts on their attention span, which in the long run will have negative impacts on their education as well. Another concern about excessive digital media use is social emotional development. As children are spending more time on their digital devices and communicating online, they're having fewer interactions that are face to face. And children at a young age, they really need to rely on those face to face interactions to fully develop their social skills and their emotional regulation skills. Uh, there's things that they can't pick up on in online communication, such as nonverbal cues and other things like that. It has also been shown that excessive digital media use in children can also uh, weaken the bond between children and parents, and that bond is essential in forming those emotional and regulation and other forms of social development in children. Another issue is mental health. Mental health issues have been linked to excessive digital media use, one of them being ADHD, emotional instability, and anxiety. So, like I said before, when children are bored, they are switching different platforms to ease their boredom, and that can have uh, harm on their attention span, which can lead to things such as ADHD. Another thing with mental health and digital media is like when children see, or more so adolescents, when they're scrolling social media and they see someone that has a better body and it's just unrealistic body types, they might look at themselves and see they don't look normal, or they might feel inadequate because they don't look like that person on social media. There's also impacts on academics. The constant notifications, the constant availability to entertainment can train the brain to want the short bursts, kind of like how ADHD works. They just want to keep constantly switching, which can have negative impacts on children's academics and can impact test scores negatively. Um, it also can harm family bonds. So children, when they're spending more time on digital media devices and spending time on social media, they might not have that bond with their parents, which can in turn, they won't have that help with parents going over spelling words or reading what they're parent, and that can also have harm on their education. Lastly, there's physical health. More screen time means that they're not usually moving around as much, and that can lead to childhood obesity as well as bad snacking habits. Um, in conclusion, digital media is here to stay, so we have to adapt to it. It's not going to go away anytime soon, but we must draw the line for children. We must be putting down clear boundaries in order to encourage them to have real world interactions and make sure that they are becoming well rounded and not relying on these devices as much. Thank you.